the spotlight working. Just a quick, because I can't see you, quick round, just by applause only. Who spent the last 20 minutes Googling Edgar Sandoval's wife? I mean, dude, you had me at free motorboating. That's what my people do. I got my signals crossed. I saw a country club on the invite, and I just assumed this is one of these fancy jacket-required affairs. And if these people in the first row are any indication, I severely overread that. So, you guys mind if I dress down to your level here? Much better. Feel more comfortable in my church clothes anyhow. As Greg said at some point earlier, I am a lawyer. That's my day job. I don't really do this. In fact, I'm only here tonight because they promised me nobody'd be dumb enough to buy a ticket. Yeah, it'll be fine, they said. Probably just be you three comedians over there talking with Sly by the bar. So that didn't work out great. Did not help that I had this written down on my calendar for next Friday. So I ended up thinking most of this up in the car on the way over here. We're going to find out together if it's worth a shit. Yeah. Very nervous up here tonight because I don't really do this. Several reasons. For one thing, sitting in the audience, I got my mom, my wife, and the girl I dated in 6th grade. Yeah. Chew on that, Dr. Freud. I'm also just kind of like off. We got any Illinois fans in the crowd? Well, that was not the NCAA tournament we were hoping for, was it? No. Jesus. I try to keep a positive attitude about it. I keep telling people, hey, you know what? There is no shame in getting your ass kicked by a bunch of 5'6" white guys. None at all. You guys watch basketball? They lost to Loyola in the second round. They were the #1 seed. They were supposed to win the whole thing. God. They lost to a team whose center had all the agility and speed of Mayor McCheese. It's a guy I'm pretty sure I saw drinking a bottle of gravy on the sideline during a TV timeout. No shame at all, Illinois. You're good. I'm also nervous here tonight because there's a couple members of the judiciary in the crowd. That makes me nervous. Starting with the guy sitting at my table. He wouldn't shut up about being a justice on the Missouri Court of Appeals. Finally, I'm like, dude, I'm a lawyer. What's your name? Maybe I've heard of you. Guy gets all nervous. He's like, oh, my name? It's Kurt Odenwald, he says. Obviously made that up on the spot. Nice try, Ozarks. Everybody knows Kurt Odenwald was the lead terrorist in Die Hard, so gotta wake up a little bit earlier than that to pull one over on us. We're also joined here tonight by Judge Kate Gorman. Judge Gorman is the newest chief judge of the 10th Judicial Circuit here in town. Yeah. She also has the distinction of being the first female to hold that position in the history of the fighting 10th. Yeah. Yeah. It's like we went to bed one night and woke up in an episode of Xena the Warrior Princess. Between her and this new chick mayor. I looked it up. Peoria County was incorporated in 1825. I'm just going to come right out and say what you're thinking. Somehow we survived for 196 years with dudes in charge, but yeah, sure, let's try this. Let's give it all over to women, see what happens. It's cool. I'm as open-minded as the next guy. One change I've noticed right away, having a woman in charge of the 10th Circuit, is things are a little bit different now. If you go to trial in Peoria County, jury generally comes back and says, if you have to ask why you're guilty, that just proves you don't listen to me when I'm talking to you. And then they generally sentence you to the silent treatment for the rest of the night. Kate did want me to mention that she is joined tonight by her very single, very available sister. It's true. Wanted me to let you know that Carrie will be accepting fantasy suite applications until 9 o'clock sharp. And at that point, she will engage the decision-making algorithm. So, gentlemen, get over there. Yeah. Sorry, Carrie. Also very nervous up here because I got a whole table full of my associates sitting here. Every time I turn to this side of the room, all I see is like $4,000 an hour of billable time that's not getting billed or anything. I'm a little more senior. I can be thinking about cases and stand up here talking about all this, so one of you is paying for this. Quick bit of housekeeping before we really get going here. We should have mentioned this at the beginning. This goes without saying. Tonight's program is really intended to entertain and amuse. Seriously, we're not here to embarrass or offend anybody. On the other hand, if you are embarrassed or offended, there is one very important thing I need you to remember, and that is this. My name is Jeff Kolbus. If you're embarrassed or offended, come track me down next week. Kick my ass good and proper. It's the only way a guy like me is going to learn. Call my wife Wendy or my brother-in-law Mike if you're having trouble finding me. They keep pretty close tabs on me for that exact purpose. Yeah. Welcome to Mountain Hawley Country Club, by the way. How about that buffet? How about a round of applause for the whole staff? I appreciate you guys letting me go through the line first. I've just been feeling so run down since I've been fighting this fever, cough, body ache thing for the last 3 or 4 days. Really didn't have the energy to stand there for a long time. And I know what you're thinking, but don't worry about it. As I went through, I was very careful to avoid direct contact with the shared utensils on the buffet. Did not touch them at all. I just scooped everything up with my hand. Checked real quick to see if my sense of taste or smell was returned. And then decided whether to throw it back or not. Yeah. Anyhow, I appreciate you guys all signing up for tonight's informational membership seminar. For the next 3.5 hours, we're going to explore the multiple ways in which fractional club ownership is the right choice for you and your family. I'm going to tell you right now, you got to stay to the end to get your parking validated. Now, in this town, when it comes to club membership, there's really 2 primary options. You got Mount Hawley here, and then you've got the other, what frankly some people consider more prestigious alternative, Club Cabaret. Spoiler alert, only one of those 2 places can you get a $4.99 sirloin and an oil change all in the same sitting. Yeah. Anyhow, I can tell from looking, as best I can see it through the spotlight, that there's not a lot I can tell you people about Club Cabaret that you don't already know. Yeah, hell, I saw most of you down there Easter Sunday, taking in Sapphire's brunch performance on the main stage. I was the guy got there late. I was sitting in the back yelling, "Hey, save some room in that G-string for the rest of us." Anyhow, that being the case, I thought that our time here tonight would be put to more productive use if we compared and contrasted the other alternative. That would be the Country Club of Peoria, CCFP as we call it. Now it is a fact that I have been a member of both Mount Hawley and CCFP. So here locally I am kind of known as an expert on the whole decision matrix, which club should you join. I get asked that question quite a bit. Ice, which club should I join? Yeah, the quick answer is whichever one I don't belong to. But if you ask for a little bit more detail, what I generally tell people is this. You seriously may want to consider Country Club of Peoria if you like the idea of nibbling cheese and sipping wine out on the veranda. However, Mount Hawley might be the right fit for you if you like the idea of chugging beer and puking in the bushes. Yeah. Grabbing the occasional quickie with the wife at the deep end of the pool. Oh yeah, you have. Yeah, you have. If you have to deny it. But that's the view from 30,000 feet. There are innumerable, more subtle distinctions between the two that, frankly, only somebody like me, influencer, a brand ambassador, would be perceptive enough to notice. So I'd like to go through those right now. Before I do, though, I should ask, do we have any Country Club of Peoria members here tonight? Do we? Don't be shy. Yeah. All right. And we can tell who you are. You're the ones walking around like Thurston Howell, curling up your nose, wiping everything off before you touch it. Why is everything so sticky here all the time? I'll tell you why, honey. It's called No Pants Thursday. We just had it again this week. It's a big hit here in Mount Hawley. Anyhow, I want to be perfectly accurate here, so catch me if I got any of this wrong. Country Club of Peoria is Peoria's oldest country club. I mean that literally. It's like a freaking Matlock Golden Girls orgy crossover episode there every day of the week. I'm not kidding. Most clubs, their most popular membership classification is golfing. CC&P, their most popular membership classification is assisted living. Serious. You go to dinner there, the first thing the waiter does is come over and explain to you the fresh laxative selection of the evening. Bus boys are trained to come around every 15 minutes to check your pulse. Last time I was there, it turned out I had one, which was awesome. I had a delicious 1972 Chateau de Metamucil. It paired real nice with the creamed spinach that night. Yeah, it had a real smooth finish, if you get my meaning. Yeah, they're not kidding around over there, I'll tell you that. They got a sign right on the front door that says, "You are not allowed to step foot inside the clubhouse unless you are wearing a properly fitted, certified M95 diaper." Not one of those leaky two-ply things some clubs will let you get away with. It is a very active club. Things can get pretty wild over there in the day room. It's a nursing home, Joe. Yeah. You ever found yourself staring at a high school soccer field thinking, I'll bet you could cram an entire 18-hole golf course on there. And CCP is definitely the place for you. Played my best round of the year there last year. Yeah, it came down to the last putt. Damn thing lipped out. I didn't so much lip out as the clown on top of the windmill swatted it away at the last second. I know. It's Colbus with a K, by the way. Yeah. But Ice, what about Mount Hawley? Shut up. Getting there. We do things a little bit different here at Mount Hawley. We've got a 2-tier membership program. You'll see that in your application. You have to choose between buzzed and shit-faced. You come to dinner here, first thing the waiter does is ask if you want your drinking water cloudy or chunky. That helps let us know which end of the pond to fetch it out of. Fresh catch of the day has been Asian carp for as long as we can remember. Sashimi grade. Yeah. We got a sign on the door here too. It says no shirt, no shoes. Welcome back, Mr. General Manager. I think though the thing that really sets Mount Hawley apart is our commitment to diversity. Mount Hawley is the kind of place we welcome every color of the rainbow, everything from lily white all the way over to Irish, everything in between. And hell, we got a guy here who's convinced he can't play golf unless we let him dress in pink from head to toe. Yeah. We're not sure which of the 57 genders Kevin Pogue is transitioning into. We support him on that journey. Every sachet step of the way. Yeah. I'm as open-minded as the next guy. My only beef with him is it's getting to the point where you can't hardly focus on chatting up the cart girls with him running around like a casting call for RuPaul's Drag Race. Doesn't stop me from trying, don't get me wrong. Now, don't worry, sweetie, I still got no game. That much has not changed in 28 years. Usually the best line I can think to ask is if they ever do any babysitting on the side. And it gets no traction whatsoever. Last year, though, Mary Kate caught me by surprise. She would be one of the aforementioned cart girls. For anybody who's trying... Excuse me? You're good. If you're trying to remember which one she is, she's the one that did not try to outdrink the entire Thursday Night Men's League. She's back this summer, though, so apparently we hired her back in spite of her obvious lack of career ambition. Anyhow, she caught me by surprise one day. She said, "Sure, Mr. Colbus, I can babysit for you." And then things got weird when she asked how old my kids are. I had to tell her, well, they're 23 and 25. Just 3 or 4 years older than you when you were at Peoria, Notre Dame. But hey, I tell you what, those two little scamps, they will get into all kinds of trouble if you don't. You do not want to leave them alone with a credit card. Tell you that. I wasn't kidding about our token Irishman either. Speaking of our very own Kieran Graham, the guy's straight off the boat from Ireland. He sounds like groundskeeper Willie. Kind of sad that he's not here, because as an officer of the court, I've been meaning to ask, do you think the guy realizes that in this country, you only need one kid to establish permanent residency? I mean, it's called an anchor baby, not an anchor starting 5. I wasn't kidding about being nervous earlier when I said that. I've been trying to do that thing that we all learned in high school speech class. Remember that? They said, try to imagine your audience naked or in their underwear. That was working okay, and then a few minutes ago I spied somebody out there who looks just like Mary from the Goods Furniture commercials. And let's just say I'm still nervous, but now for a whole different set of reasons. I believe in total transparency with my wife, so I told her when I put Mary on my list. You guys know the list. 5 famous people you're allowed to sleep with. No questions asked, should the opportunity ever present itself. I told her, sweetie, she's going up on the big board. Right between skinny Mariah Carey and Jessica Rabbit. I thought she'd be pissed, but she just turned to me and said, that's cool. I've had Paul Sherman on my list as long as I can remember. Right between Magnum PI and that creepy guy from the My Pillow commercial. Boy, I did not see that coming. But sure goes a long way towards explaining that fantastic same-day delivery we got on that dishwasher last year. At this point, we got to tap the brakes here a little bit, get serious. I think we got to clear the air. We got to talk about the elephant in the room. And look, I know it's the last thing anybody wants to talk about after the year we've had, but that's the paradox. This thing comes along, just totally disrupts life as you knew it. You hate it, but at the same time, you can't stop thinking about it. I think we could benefit from some group therapy here tonight, so I'd like to go first, see if we can take just even one step towards closure by offering this, frankly, somewhat politically incorrect perspective on the whole thing. Call me a science denier or whatever, but it is my opinion, even after a year, that there is simply not sufficient scientific data to support the proposition that Carol Baskin killed her husband. I'm sorry. Yeah. Didn't see that coming, did you, all you cool cats and kittens? As for COVID, I'm super happy that we lost our collective mind and just preemptively obliterated the entire world economy back when we had 14 days to flatten the curve. Thank God we did that, right? Yeah, hell. Otherwise, we might have found ourselves sitting here a year later still walking around wearing masks like a bunch of dumbasses. Hey, honey, the forecast calls for rain with a 0.000017% chance of lightning. You want me to put the grill cover on? No, just burn the whole damn house down. Let's not take any chances. Makes me wonder how we made it through Beanie Babies and Longer Burger baskets without throwing our kids in solitary confinement for a year. It's kind of funny to think that just one short year ago, the biggest thing we had to worry about around here was legalized marijuana. Anybody even remember that now? Seriously, one day we're all freaking out. Next day you cannot drive to work in the morning without getting stoned off the fumes of the car in front of you. Seriously. And the funny thing is, like, it just normalized right away. Like, we're just like, oh yeah, there's that guy getting baked as shit in the windowless molester van as we speed through this school zone at 7:30 in the morning. What are you gonna do? It's legal. Funny thing is, I'm still less concerned about that guy than I am about guy driving by himself in a car wearing a mask. Yeah. The thing that galls me, though, is I guarantee if even just once I took the fifth of vodka that I like to drink on my way into work in the morning, splashed it out the window on the car behind me, somehow I'd be the bad guy in that scenario. But if you're smoking a blunt, hey, more power to you, apparently. I think we can all agree that our pothead community proved to be every bit as friendly and docile as we could have hoped. Very gentle breed. Quite unlike their brethren in the vaping community. Yeah, if you encounter a vaping dude in the wild, my advice to you is Back away slowly and avoid direct eye contact. You startle a vaping dude, they will be compelled to explain to you for the 47,000th time. It's not like smoking cigarettes, man. It's just sucking water vapor into your lungs. To which I'm often compelled to respond, A, thank you for that medical update, Dr. Jonas Salk. B, water in your lungs, that's what we old timers used to call pneumonia, you dumb shit. Say hi to everybody in the COVID ward. I digress. I don't mean to be flippant about COVID. Just a quick show of hands. Anybody here test positive for COVID at any point in the last 12 months? Okay. How about herpes simplex 12? Anybody test positive for that? I mean, apparently we're just waiving HIPAA privacy rights tonight, so let's lay it all out there. By the way, if you're sitting there right now with two hands in the air, Mike O'Brien, do us a favor. Take out your phone, deactivate your Tinder profile. Until further notice. In fact, you know what? Deactivate Grindr and Christian Mingle too. And Farmers Only, Judge Gorman. Shut them all down. We'll let you know when we're ready for you again. We will. Who did this during COVID? You went to the grocery store, and as you're walking in, you put on your mask, like a little bitch. That would be the mask that you haven't washed in 7 months, that you peeled off the floor of the car, because that's where you threw it after you wiped up whatever the dog was licking in the back seat. That you may or may not have dropped in the puddle next to that homeless guy in the parking lot. That mask. And you smear that all over your face, you know, because of science and stuff. And you proceed into the store and down the first aisle in accordance with the one-way only directional arrow on the floor. And 100% of the time, within 10 seconds, you look up and what do you see? Somebody coming the wrong way. And what do you do as a rational, mature, adult human being in those circumstances? That's right. Oh, excuse me, I didn't realize it was your special day. I didn't realize the scientific laws of viral load transmission don't apply to you in the middle of this deadly global pandemic. Why don't you come over here and spit on my kids while you're at it? Obviously you're not going to be happy until you killed every damn last one of us in here. Jackass. You proceed on your way, and a few moments later, you spy that can of beans your wife asked you to pick up. The only thing is, it's about 12 feet up, a couple aisles over, the wrong way. And that's when you say to yourself, you know, I could walk all the way around. However, seeing as it's just one can of beans and 12 feet, I'm going to go ahead and grant myself a dispensation here. I'm going to go up this aisle the wrong way to grab that thing. And 100% of the time, within 10 seconds, you look up, and there stands Guy from the first aisle. And now he's giving you the stink eye because he's going the right way, you're going the wrong way. And what do? Haven't been caught so completely dead red-handed. Haven't been so thoroughly exposed as the insufferable, sanctimonious hypocrite that you clearly are at this point. That's right. Oh, excuse me, your Lord Worshipfulness. I didn't realize you were the benighted Earl of the corn and beans aisle here at Snooks. However, may I earn your forgiveness for violating the sovereignty of your realm in such an egregious way? Like I'm seriously going to give you COVID through this vomit-encrusted mask from all the way over here. Get over yourself, dude. Jackass. And at that point, the two of you continue this double helix of rage and self-righteousness for the next 56 aisles. Until you typically get stuck next to each other in the checkout line. Hey, what's up? Yeah. I should have taken COVID more seriously than I did. In hindsight, I wish I had. Eventually did affect me. Lost somebody very special to me. It's my favorite aunt. She made it to about 90-some years old. Breakfast has not been the same since Jemima went away. And then to lose Uncle Ben so shortly thereafter, that was a real difficult blow. They say at that age, when one goes, the other's usually not too far behind. Now, most days, for a while, I tried to cope with my grief by rebuilding my relationship with the hot Indian chick on the Land O'Lakes box. We know how that ended up. So now, most days, when I sit down to eat, it's just me and little Debbie. Staring at that dumb hat of hers. Thinking back on an earlier time, back when Jake from State Farm was a white guy. Back when Mr. Potato Head was a dude. Back when we as a society had kind of a common unspoken understanding that as sentient, intelligent adults, in the exercise of common sense and free will, endowed by our Creator, we were competent to watch the occasional episode of The Muppet Show without the necessity of a trigger warning telling us which puppet to be offended by. And it makes me wonder how we got here. I mean, you youngsters in the audience might be surprised to learn that people my age, we grew up with kind of a simple code. Went like this: sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, get this, words can never hurt me. I know. Yeah. Put that in your soy milk, all you gender fluid snowflakes. That's why guys my age, when the recess bell rang, first thing you did is run outside and find the biggest stick or stone you could lay your hands on. Try to beat somebody's brains in with that. It was made pretty clear to us that words weren't going to do shit if you really wanted to hurt somebody. Most of the people in this room spent 6 hours every Saturday glued to the tube watching Elmer Fudd blow Daffy Duck's brains out with a shotgun. We all turned out normal. What do you kids get? 6 hours of Greta Thunberg telling you that we're all going to die if mommy drives you to school in a gas-powered SUV? I mean, I'm as into the environment as the next guy, but I see her and the only thing I can think of is she is going to make the worst Bachelor contestant ever someday. Can you imagine that? Greta, will you accept this rose? How dare you! Yeah. Here's how bad COVID got in our family. When the whole lockdown started, I sat my family down and I said, we're not going to use this as an excuse to sit around getting fat and drunk. Well, I am, but the rest of you. I want you to get out there and do something, read a book, learn something new. Problem is, the only one that was paying attention was my dog. And the thing that my dog learned new is this. He learned that if you spend every day of lockdown out in the yard eating half your body weight in poo, eventually that will block up your guts and kill you. I mean, there's some things you can read about in a book, but till you try it yourself, it just doesn't quite click. Now, I will say this in my dog's defense, despite what you may be thinking, he actually has a fairly sophisticated palate. He really does. For one thing, he's very partial to his sister's cooking.
Yeah.
Prefers his meals straight out of the oven, if you get my meaning. Sounds like you do. Yeah, there's no 5-second rule where he came from. Could be COVID in the grass. I mean, he's a real farm-to-table fanatic, this guy. Took the farm and the table right out of the equation, he did. Anyhow, like I said, almost killed him, had to take him to the vet. And it's taken me a while to get here, but this brings me to the central thesis of my keynote address here tonight. And that is this. I have noticed that we as a society invest entirely too much time and energy into hating lawyers. And I would submit to you tonight that energy, with everything else going on in the world, could be put to so much more productive use if we came together as a society and hated veterinarians instead. And if you're a dog owner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I take this poo-filled dog into the vet, and of course the answer is, oh yeah, I can fix him. By the time you calculate in OR time, supplies, anesthesia, rehab, nursing, they're not getting any cheaper. Get you out the door for about $5,000. And because it's a dog, you're just supposed to start clapping like some dumb circus monkey throwing $100 bills at the guy. Because if you so much as hesitate, that guy's grabbing the phone off the wall. Hey Donna, can we get the death cart here in exam room 6? Nickel Dick here doesn't love his dog anymore. Now in your mind, you're thinking to yourself, I paid like $80 for that dog at a kill shelter 12 years ago. But you're telling me that for the cost of $62.50 brand new, presumably non-shit-eating dogs, I think you can fix this one right back up, huh? And unless you're talking about brain surgery, like he's walking out of here just as screwed up in the head as he is already, isn't he? Meanwhile, if it's a human on the table, if it's me laying on the table with a belly full of shit, I guarantee my wife's the first one going to be standing there going, hey, honey, you've had a good run. $5,000, that's a lot of money. I really want those new kitchen cabinets. And Paul Sherman tells me he can get them here next week. Yeah. The dog's fine. He's fine. I'm a little bit just off tonight. I get this way with recycling day coming. Here's the thing about recycling day. Recycling day is the day that we drop the facade of our perfectly manicured suburban life. It's the day that we, whether we want to or not, we announce to all the world that once again you and your petite little empty nester wife together, alone, have somehow once again managed to fill an entire 72-gallon drum with nothing but beer cans and wine bottles. I'm not kidding, that truck comes down the street in the morning. It sounds like Godzilla throwing a crystal chandelier down a marble staircase. I don't know about where you live, but in my neighborhood, people are so judgmental. Guy and his wife came walking down the street. She laid eyes on this Jenga tower of booze. Stopped dead in her tracks. Says, Jesus, how bad must it be in that house? Thank God her husband was with her. The guy says, hey, honey, you'd be drinking too if your dog was out there eating shit all day long. I wanted to give a quick shout out to our wonderful general manager, Michael Pace. I am happy to have served on the search committee that hired Michael. And I don't think he'll mind me telling this story about that process. There came a point in that process where it was obvious that Michael was the right guy for the job. One simple question we asked every candidate, we said, tell us something about you that will help us understand you as a general manager. And here's the answer Michael gave. He said, gentlemen, this is a dudes only committee, by the way. It's KOLBUS. Remax. Unlimited. Said, gentlemen, I didn't have a lot growing up, but the most valuable thing my daddy ever gave to me was this piece of advice. He set me down one day, he said, Corn Pop, in this life, there's three things I want you to promise to live by and pass on to your kids and your grandkids. Thing number one, work hard, whatever your job is. Thing number two, study hard in school. And thing number three, he said, I want you to promise me that if the opportunity ever presents itself, you will trade up in the NFL draft to get Mitch Trubisky. Yes. Yeah. I think we fixed that last night, hopefully. I always said if Ryan Pace was half as good at picking quarterbacks as Michael is at picking cart girls, we'd have Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James, and Tiger Woods playing for the Chicago Bears. You guys have been great. Thank you all. Big round of applause for Baker Stand